Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And I'm
Roast.
Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with our reaction and review for Ted Lasso Season 4, Episode 1.
hmm
We're finally here, guys. I'm very curious to know from everybody. Did you ever think over the past few years that this show was just officially done? I had my reservations, but there was always something just like nagging in the back of my head that made me feel hopeful.
Well, we're definitely in a more hopeful place than me. I mean, to be honest, I felt that it was probably over. The way that it ended, like I really enjoyed season 1 and season 2. I know
Mhm.
you absolutely love them.
Yes.
But season 3 was kind of middle of the road for me, and it tied everything up pretty well that I wasn't really sure if it came back what it was coming back for. So for me, I was like, okay, well, it's just over.
Yeah, I had always kind of hoped that if you guys do come back, and I understand everybody loves money, you want to do the show again. I mean, it better come back with a really, really good idea. And this whole
Mhm.
premise of Ted's going to coach a women's team now, like it was kind of sort of planted at the end of season 3 that this could eventually come to pass. But I think ultimately, the success of this season, we're gonna have to wait a while probably to figure things out entirely. But like you said, season 2 to me is one of the greatest seasons of any comedy show ever. So like my expectations are probably unrealistic in general.
No, I don't know because this show hadn't even aired yet
Mm,
last week, and it was like number 2 for all of Apple's shows all together over Silo, which is currently airing.
it is the fandom and the continued success of this show over the years. Like
Yes.
it has been astounding. Even though both of us do have problems with season 3, that did not deter anybody from catching up again, from
Nope.
feeling like, okay, season 4, I need to be back in. I need to see if this show is still worth our time.
Okay, but before we get into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
Mhm.
We're going to be here every single week with brand new Ted Lasso episode reviews and reactions, chatting with you guys about what happened in the episode. And we want to hear from you guys as well. What did you like? What didn't you like? What is missing? What is back? What is great? So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed.
Thank you guys. That really does help us to be able to keep making these videos for you. We really, really appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with a very small beef hat. And it really is just that this whole episode, we had the setup of where Ted is working and what's going on. The gang is getting back together and they offer him this job. And of course, he's going to take it by the end of the episode
Yeah.
because they put out a preview for this season and he's working with the women's soccer team already. So I was just like, when we first started this episode, I was like, oh, he's, a manager at this store, an assistant manager. He's helping out. And I was just like, okay, well, he's obviously not going to stay here for multiple reasons. Nobody wants to watch this all season. But also, we know where it's going because they already shared that. So I'm kind of actually surprised that they didn't condense him just getting out there with the team into maybe the first 10 minutes of this.
Yeah, because that is really the thing that a lot of us are watching for because of what the trailer gave away. Like, my whole sentiment coming out of this is that was it enjoyable? Was it comforting? I would say yes to those things, but at the same time, I'll do a little bit of a story diversion
hmm
here. Once
hmm
upon a time, I lived within walking distance. My house was really, really close to a Sprouts grocery store, and I would go over there. I would get like a brownie and I would cut it up into pieces, and then I would make like brownie ice cream sundaes, and they were very, very good. But by the 12th time I'm having a brownie ice cream sundae, it doesn't really hit the same. It's like, am I getting a little sick to my stomach at this
This
point?
is when you invite your friends
I
over
see,
so
I
that I
see.
can have some of that as well.
It's like
I'll help you out, Matt.
the brownie sundae is still good, but this is a brownie sundae I have had just like so many times
hmm
before. There's no like splash of caramel, there's nothing different in the brownie, and it just feels like after a wait, maybe you wanted to put something in there that's a little bit different to kind of get people engaged or exciting because yeah, when the trailer kind of gave away everything when it comes to the premise of the season,
Mhm.
this is just like, okay, the show's back and hopefully that's enough to have you happy.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I want to see him back doing what he loves, what he's good at.
Mm.
I want to meet the women's team and I want to
Yes.
see all the different new personalities that are going to be brought into the show that is really going to fire it all up again.
Yeah.
Because, like, some of the best stuff that actually happened in this episode, besides all the nostalgia or whatever,
Yeah.
was actually for me seeing him in this new job and him trying to, like, teach the other young clerk not to steal and how he was able to do that, and the Ted Lasso way of doing things, of trying to teach a lesson without wagging your finger at anybody in a way that really sticks with you in a more positive way. I was like, this is a great start to the season because of this. This is what I missed from Ted.
Yeah, it's Ted's great because of one, the inspirational factor, but two,
Yes.
you're seeing him as a fish out of water. And while I recognize that grocery store is still, where he lives, it's
Mhm.
still not an environment we're used to seeing Ted in. So there is like that excitement of seeing, oh, he's in this new environment. How is he going to adapt and bring this Ted
Yes.
Lasso way to all these other things? And because like the first 3 seasons, they stuck him right in there, like right away. It was all fish out of water
Yeah.
from the beginning. Like there was that like immediate conflict and tension of whether or not this is going to work. And we just haven't gotten there yet.
Now, what I'm hoping for with sort of that fish out of water, because he's already coached the men's team and they did really well and
Yes.
everything was great. He is going back to coaching soccer again, right? But it's going to be because it's the women's team. Of course, we're going to have a whole bunch of brand new personalities, which is
Yes.
going to be the fun sort of mechanics of it all. But because they've set up here with everyone who's come down to try to get him to come back and have this job, Rebecca's kind of like learned that, yeah, women's sports, it's a lot harder than men's sports. A lot of women's sports is getting canceled because it's taking money away from the men's sports. And, are they actually going to be able to put into this women's team the way that it was with the men's team? And maybe some of those stumbles, if they don't have as many finances or there's other things that are being taken away from the women's team, to see how crafty Ted is going to get. And that I think is going to be some of the fish out of water for him.
Yeah, like that was a real question I had coming into season 4. I mean, especially now that we've seen the premiere where
Mhm.
we know that Ted is a successful soccer coach. And it's like
Yes.
that tension is gone. And we'll talk more about this, but even in this premiere, it's revealed that, okay, Michelle, his son, like they're going over to the UK. So it's like the
Mhm.
tension of Ted being away from his family is gone. So where does that come from? And I think it has to be that where you're in a world here in women's sports where they've been around for a while, but it's
Yep.
still not universally accepted or as popular as men's sports. Like
No, it's not.
WNBA has had like a little bit of a surge the
Mhm.
past couple years. I'm a big Wings fan now, thanks to Paige Beckers. Like there are some sports that are slowly gaining it, but it's still an uphill battle. And that is like a real underdog story. How crafty, how creative can you be? Like Richmond already had like this big, fervent fan base who is insulting Ted on the street. Like, what is it like when he comes over there now?
Yeah, and this is a really topical premise right now
Yeah.
because, like you said, women's sports are still not at the same level as men's sports. And maybe because Ted Lasso is such a beloved show, it is so popular,
Yes.
widely loved, that maybe this will also help bring people to maybe start watching some more women's sports. And maybe we can get a little footing with it by making it as endearing as I know Ted is going to.
One of my favorite tinfoil hat things from the past couple of years is like I've occasionally like dropped into broadcasts, and a lot of times it's been women's sports, or I'll just see on social media. Here is Jason Sudeikis in the crowd
I
watching this.
know.
It's like, is he here because he's a fan? Is he just trying to get like, I'm trying to understand the team dynamics, but is it like a little bit of both? Like, I actually would like to hear him talk about that more because it still hasn't really been explored on this show yet because we haven't gotten over to the UK.
It was cool though to see Rebecca and Higgins and Keely all here on Ted's turf, all kind of like figuring things out,
Mhm.
eating ribs, which yes, are very delicious, but I'm exactly like Rebecca. I eat all the way down to my feet. I just mess everything up entirely, but so delicious. It was cool to watch her with like bags of it still going on the plane, being like, it is what it is. I can buy more outfits, but I can't get this back in the UK.
Yeah, I mean that whole sequence was that was probably the funniest stuff of this episode,
It
and I
was.
think it's really relatable too. I mean, we're coming
Yeah.
off like the World Cup, and we kept seeing like all these people being like, "Oh, I'm at like this convenience store
Yeah.
for the," like it actually did speak to that, and I think it was very, very effective. And in that way, it was nice to sort of have the tables turned and have a lot
Mhm.
of these characters actually experience Ted's real American life here for a change.
Yeah, I think that, while they all have understanding of each other for his
Mhm,
time being out there, and I know they were only out for a short
mhm.
period of time, a couple days, I feel like even the short while they were there, they really did get a better look at, Ted's life and who he is and the things that influence the way that he is. Even just like Rebecca being like, okay, I need to get some more clothes because all my clothes have rib sauce on it now. And now
Yeah.
she's wearing some sparkly jumper with like a giant flaming eagle on the back or whatever was going on, all blinged out.
Yeah.
It was just, she's like, everybody's so nice here. Like the shop owner's so nice. Everyone's nice. Even the security guard who's coming over to like, give them a little bit of grief for like, oh, you can't litter. Oh, I'm just kidding. You can, throw some coins into the well. I'm on break. I'm not working right now. And then you see the two of them being like, everyone is so nice here. And you see him in the
Yeah.
background, like smelling a rose. I laughed so loud.
The this show is ironically probably at its best when it's a little bit subtle and unexpected with its humor, where you see characters, even if they're in the background, doing things that you do not expect.
This guy was on screen for all of like 60 seconds.
Yes.
Him like in the background stopping to smell a rose. I was like, this is when Ted Lasso really is at its best, where it's got its main characters being funny and you've got people in the background doing ridiculous things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just talk some story questions right now. I
Mhm.
think this is a fair one. Was it surprising to anyone else that both Michelle and Henry were just like, sure, let's go over? So it's like no pushback, no real debate. It's basically just like immediate yes.
Okay, with Henry, I was not surprised. They've set up, hey, he's just finishing up school right
Yeah.
now, so he doesn't actually have any commitments that are holding him here. No problem.
Yeah.
Michelle not work. She's have a place, friends, an established life there. Like I understand that she wants to be with her son,
Yeah.
but I think that could have been a really fun story as well. I think they had to find a way
Mm.
to make Michelle come over there so that Henry's just not on the field all the time with Ted, because I'm sure he will be. They had that whole,
Yeah.
oh, I used to go and watch my dad at work and he was the hero of his work and it was really exciting for me and all
Mhm.
that sort of stuff. I'm sure all of that will happen, but there had to be somebody there who's just going to take care of Henry. Otherwise, none of this works. So I was still surprised that Michelle was just like, okay, whatever I have going on here doesn't matter. I'll just leave.
I have a theory, and I don't know if this theory is correct, but I think, at least for me, I hated the Dr. Jacob stuff in season 3.
Hated
Like,
it.
it was the worst part of the entire first 3 seasons of the show. It felt like the writers decided that in order to make Ted look better, they had to make Michelle look worse, and it just felt like a really bad creative mistake. It got into some really icky territory at times, and they didn't even mention Dr. Jacob in this episode
Mhm.
at all. So I kind of feel like in making Michelle be very agreeable, let's just go over here right away. Like, while it's unrealistic, I think they were just sort of like, let's just pretend that Dr. Jacob stuff in season 3 never happened, and we're just gonna reset everything.
I feel like they could have won me over with it with believability
Mhm,
if they had that whole text exchange where he
mhm.
thinks he's talking to Michelle and Henry's like, no, it's actually me. You forgot to charge my iPad again.
Yeah.
Let me ask mom. And then Michelle actually call him and they have the conversation where she's like, I'd like to. just give me a couple days so that I can maybe like find out if I can take off some time from work, or maybe I can work remotely. Let me see if maybe I can get someone to, take over my place, or collect the mail for a little while. Just that type of conversation that you could have given me like 2 or 3 sentences,
Mhm,
just so that she isn't just like, oh, I'm agreeable.
mhm.
I'll just do whatever you want. Me, job, who cares what I'm doing? I'll just move everything for you.
And
And I'm not even with you.
and it's just because that was wrapped up so quickly, it does like leave this big, big question mark of, is this all then for Ted gonna be about trying to find a way to uplift women's sports in the UK? Like, where is the personal drama for him now? Like, he's gonna
Mhm.
have his son there. Michelle's conceivably gonna be there all the time. Like, is Ted gonna look for another love interest? Is he gonna try to get back with his ex? I don't really know if we need to see that. Like, it's just like there. I have a lot of question marks now with all of this.
Yeah, I was wondering if Michelle was coming out there so that maybe by the end of however many seasons they end up doing, that they
Yeah.
would all just get back together as a family and work through some stuff. And the only way that was really going to happen is if they're actually all together working as a family unit, whether they're a couple or not. It feels like that's kind of the only way we're going to get to something like that. It's not really going to happen if she's all the way back there and
Mhm.
he's just out there with Henry. Otherwise, then I'm just kind of like, well, is Michelle just out there to take care of Henry? Because we would never have Ted
Mhm.
leave Henry again.
No, and they can't. Like, it's gonna be too unrealistic for that character. I think it was already a big struggle to think that he was just willingly gonna be away from his son for as long as he was on the original show,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, here is where I think to me some of the bigger question marks about the future come into play, because now we've got these characters over there. And
Hmm.
while, I enjoy a lot of the core group, I think the Higgins going to the museum part of this episode, like at first I thought, is this really going anywhere fast enough? But then once it did, I think it was meant to sort of reflect, okay, this is Higgins realizing that putting all this money, even if it's not, an immediate profit, is
Hmm.
worth it. We need a lot from the women's coaches, from these players. Like, is that going to be enough to elevate? Because, like, for me, I don't want to speak for everybody. My favorite character on Ted Lasso is not Ted Lasso. For the first 3 seasons, it was Roy Kent. And it's just like, I need the women's team version of Roy Kent. Like, is she out there?
It was interesting to hear a little bit of an update on Roy and Keeley, where she was like, they're just friends. So obviously, Ted Lasso wants to have that back and forth, because we watched the trailer and we saw Keeley walking away and Roy looking over his shoulder a couple times, that he still has these feelings. So they clearly just didn't want to start them off together, because then there is no will they, won't they. But of course, they're going to.
Yeah, I think they are the ultimate. Will they, won't they? Of course they're going to. I mean, this is a contrast to, let's just step into, I guess, Ted Becca corner here for a moment.
Hmm.
I was originally not super excited about this ship, but by the end of season 3, I was kind of like, okay, you know what? I kind of want it now.
I couldn't get enough of that. I loved that even if they're never going to get together, that they did a little bit of fan service
Mm,
in season 3 at the end, where it was kind of like this idea of like, maybe they did hook. Oh, no, they didn't. But still the what if imagination.
we did get an update on Rebecca's personal life within the premiere.
She seems very happy, and that's good.
She's very happy with Pilot Man, but okay, please don't get mad at me, Ted Lasso. I just don't know if I'm meant to care about Pilot Man at this point. Like, he seems nice enough.
He does.
We just had all this time invested in this Ted Rebecca relationship, and I understand that they're probably trying to be like, you can be really good friends or even like platonic soulmates with somebody. You don't have to necessarily turn romantic. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I get it. And I know that the actors have said, yeah, they're just friends, they're just friends. But you know what? I don't believe you guys, because a lot of times you have actors are going to go and give interviews, and they're not going to just give it away to be like, okay, you got me. At the end of the season, we are going to get them together. They're not going to tell us, right? They
Yeah.
are just going to be like, oh, they're just friends and we like it that way.
I think just the premiere overall, I would say it's solid. I don't think we've reached anywhere near the greatness of the first 2 seasons.
No,
I
it's
Yeah.
table setting to get us out to the UK.
One other thing I will say though is a very big positive. this episode is not an hour and however much long. I think one of the things that really hurt season 3, Sudeikis was just out of control, and I understand. There's like 15 characters he was trying to service. He didn't want to cut any plots. There's all these reports out there. It's like this show's taking too long but it was just those episodes were so bloated at times that it just felt like it dragged and lost a lot of that like snappiness that it had.
Yes, he was pulling a Kurt Sutter where every single episode was just as long as he felt like it.
Yeah.
And it could be 10 hours long if he wanted. But yeah, he seems to have reined it in. The pacing was really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic for where things are going to go. We'll have to see, but that is where we are coming out of the season 4 premiere of Ted Lasso. What do you guys think about the setup? Do you wish there was more of like actually being in the UK? Like, let us know and hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any other coverage the rest of the season. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. We will see you here next time.